Hello everyone. I am Ashvin Beetul. I will present you on user training on how to use immersive environments safely and effectively. And It is based on the how to mitigate the risk and challenges. So let's see first the contents. We will have an introduction and then understanding immersive environments, identifying the risk, comprehensive user training, continuous monitoring and feedback, developing user awareness and digital literacy, and establishing clear usage guidelines and policies, addressing psychological impacts, ensuring accessibility, collaborating with stakeholders, conclusion and references. As an introduction, we will see an overview of immersive environments in this context, important communications, and um, how we can address the risk and challenges, introduction to mitigation strategies, and a focus on training. Right. So let's firstly understand the immersive environments. Immersive environments refer to digital spaces created through the virtual reality, that is VR, augmented reality, AR, and mixed realities, which is MR, as technologies. So these environments are increasingly being used in education, healthcare, and various other industries to provide interactive and engaging experiences. However, as these technologies become more widespread uh, in different sectors, in different economies, it is then essential to address the associated and related risk and challenges, which range in fact from physical discomfort to security concerns. Identifying the risk, the use of immersive environments introduces in fact several kinds of risk. Physically, users may experience motion sickness or a kind of disorientation. That is, they don't know where they are exactly due to the disconnect between the virtual input and the physical sensations. So they can tend to kind of mix both. Psychologically, extended exposure to VR can lead to anxiety or even addiction. That is for many youngsters, in fact, they are addict to the digital and immersive environments. Security risks also arise, such as the potential for data breaches and privacy violations, especially when sensitive information is involved. Then let's see now uh, kind of strategy. So, what kind of strategies can we think of or even implement, if at least to the measure of the possibilities? Firstly, the first strategy, let's see about the comprehensive user training. So, comprehensive user training is a primary strategy for mitigating the risk of immersive environments. So, effective training programs should include safety protocols to prevent physical injuries, usage guidelines to help users navigate virtual spaces, and psychological preparation to manage any kind of disorientation or anxiety. For example, some universities may implement mandatory VR training courses for students and staff, and ensuring they are well prepared to use the technology safely and effectively. Secondly, as a second strategy, we should have continuous monitoring and feedback. So, uh, as such, continuous monitoring and gathering of user feedback, they are important for mitigating that risk associated with immersive environments. Real-time monitoring can help identify issues as they arise, allowing them for immediate intervention. Additionally, gathering user feedback helps improve the training programs and the technology itself. For example, in healthcare training, monitoring VR sessions can ensure that trainees are correctly following protocols, and thus it may contribute as a kind of reducing the risk of errors. Then another strategy is that um, developing user awareness and digital literacy. This is in fact a key to again mitigating the risk for in immersive environments, and users should be educated on the potential risk associated with VR and AR, as well as safe practices for using these technologies. So, educational institution can play an important role by incorporating digital literacy into their curriculum. For instance, schools also can introduce programs that teach students about the risk of VR and how to use it responsibly. By the way, even on some packaging on the boxes or some VR headset, it should be mentioned about the risk and what can be even the symptoms about using these devices. A next um, strategy can be as establishing the clear usage guidelines and policies. So this can be another effective strategy to, let's say, reduce risk, mitigate the risk also in immersive environments. So these policies can include recommendations on the duration of VR use, the physical setup of the environment, and other safety measures. And here, for example, there can be corporations that can establish guidelines that regulate how long employees can use VR during training sessions to prevent any kind of physical strain. Was the posture, the way they are uh, standing or even sitting, and then even ensure a safe working environment. Another strategy is that we should need to uh, address any kind of psychological impacts. So this kind of psychological impacts in immersive environments is very important. So this kind of extended use of VR can lead to anxiety and stress and other psychological effects. It's important then to recognize these issues and provide users with strategies to manage them, such as relaxation techniques or even counseling services. For example, VR labs uh, in universities can offer psychological support programs to help users cope with any negative experiences they may encounter. Most universities, or let's say many universities, provide psychological support in general to the students. So maybe we can try to link this kind of um, psychological impacts when using immersive environments to this unit also. Another strategy then is to ensure inclusivity and accessibility, and this of course also can be essential and includes making VR and AR technologies accessible to users with disabilities. For instance, adopting VR content to be accessible to users with visual impairments can significantly enhance the inclusivity of these environments. This might involve also using auditory or haptic feedbacks to convey some important information to such users who cannot rely on visual input. And then another strategy is, which is in fact very important, is collaborating with stakeholders. And in fact, this should be done in fact in uh, different fields. It is very important. And uh, when there is collaboration with stakeholders, it is a key strategy again. So by involving, let's say, developers, educators, and policymakers here, uh, in the development and also then in implementation of the VR and AR technologies, organizations can ensure that these technologies are safe and they are effective and they are aligned with the user's needs. For instance, a partnership can be between a VR developer or like a team of developers as an agency and a school or schools or a zone with schools maybe from the Ministry of Education who can support that. And that can lead, in fact, to the creation of educational VR content that is both engaging and safe for students. In many countries, we have some kind of um, um, educational institutions that can be in as a unit in the Ministry of Education. So if we can then pilot a kind of project with one or few schools for to collaborate with the stakeholders and see what are the results, and then maybe we can try to make it available for some for other schools and other levels also. So that can be a great collaboration, in fact, as with the ministry. So as conclusion, we have seen a recap of uh, the key strategies. We had different strategies, that is like, for example, we need a user training and a good implementation. We should have continuous monitoring and feedback, and we should have a kind of digital literacy, which is very important. And then for, let's say, all fields, and then also relating that to the user awareness when these people are using that immersive technologies. And we should also have a clear usage of guidelines and policies, and we should also address some kind of psychological impacts and even support these persons. And even also if we can have an accessibility, like, for example, if we can address the needs for some people, some users with disabilities. And also we talked about the collaboration with stakeholders. So for all these, there should be then a call to action, so then we can really um, uh, implement, like, um, it is in fact essential for organization to proactively implement these strategies, what we just mentioned, and then just to ensure the safe and effective use of immersive environments. Then lastly, as according to ANSYS, some main good practices and safety tips to avoid or minimize some kind of cyber sickness, and there's also some kind of symptoms relating to it, is to immediately stop any kind of usage of AR and VR devices if the user is feeling any kind of symptoms. So they mentioned also then that A rest of 1 or 2 hours is then recommended, and generically, as for anyone using whether they are feeling this kind of symptoms uh, or not. Yet a rest of 1 or 2 hours is recommended after any kind of casual usage, and evening usage before bedtime is not advisable. So these are my references, and thank you very much for your attention.